Okay, a really quick thought. Today I'm learning about Whitehead, and he had this idea. To tell you the truth, it just came up, and I don't even know exactly what he's talking about, but it already inspired some thoughts in my head. And that is that he said that Christianity was a religion without metaphysics, or rather, he said Christianity is a religion in search of metaphysics. And, you know, to tell you the truth, I won't talk more about Whitehead because I don't know what he means by that, but I do know that it triggers um, a, a thought process for me because um, I've had it in my head for a long time. I went to Christian theology school, so technically speaking, um, I'm a Christian and I have my greatest um, formal education is within a Christian um, context. And yet, when it comes to deep philosophy, I'm far more influenced by Eastern thought. And frankly, the reason is because I just think it's better. I just think it's smarter. This idea that Whitehead says, just this phrase, Christianity is a religion in search of a metaphysics, I think that might be what's going on, why I've always felt like this. Christianity, there's a lot going for Christianity. It takes ethics very seriously. Its mythology is very well developed. Its rituals, liturgy is very well developed. The art, architecture, poetry, tons of fantastic stuff within those realms, right? There's also been tons of great theology, but there's also a problem where there isn't, particularly outside of like academic theology, for just a ground level theology, people tend not to have a real smart philosophy or theology, particularly within metaphysics. They just rely on the mythology, and then they take the mythology to be very literal. And so the metaphysics of Christianity is all mixed up with the mythology of Jesus and some of the old mythology of in the Hebrew Bible. And you ask about, like what is their metaphysics? They don't have a more rigorous version than like there's this Trinity thing, and there was this guy Jesus, and he died for us. And none of it makes sense, right? If you take it as symbolic, it can be really powerful things. But as far as actually being a rigorous metaphysics, it just is not smart, right? It's dumb. Like, you know, that this one particular Jew 2,000 years ago, for somewhere like no reason at all, has this heavy metaphysical significance. It doesn't make any sense at all. This is, and I identify as a Christian, but I identify as a Christian that like isn't an idiot. You can take it as symbolic and you can pray to Jesus. That's great, right? Because it can be a positive thing in your life and it can be a positive thing in the world. But when it comes to real rigorous metaphysics, the East, it's not just that your average Eastern thinker is better than your average Western thinker. As a matter of fact, that isn't the case. Plenty of people in the West are smart, but in the West, at least amongst like the ground level, the people's religion, there just has never been an adequate split between theology and mythology, as there has in the East. You look at the ideas of like Advaita Vedanta, which is the school that I know the most about, and it's not stupid, right? Maybe that's partially connected to why science blew up so wonderfully in the West, and then modern science didn't. Modern science came from the West and then moved east in recent decades. Part of that might be because their theology in the East, was so much more rigorous and so much more rational than it was in the West, that they didn't develop that split between religion and science the way we did in the West. Anyway, I just thought of that. It's not exactly well developed, but there it is.